Hello, Let's Do Video viewers, and welcome back to the boardroom. And I'm here with Justin in the boardroom for the first time. Justin, can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Dave. I'm Justin Bondi. I'm the Vice President of Customer Experience here at Neat.
Now, I appreciate you being here because I know Infocom seems like a long time ago, but in a way, it kind of seems like it just happened. I'm still catching up from it.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
the Neat booth was kind of crowded. I sort of had trouble seeing everything I wanted to see. The team was great; they led me around,
Yeah.
but I need some follow up, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of new. Well, you know more than me. There's a lot of new stuff happening at Neat. There's a lot at the booth, but the first thing I got to talk about is Neat Bar Generation 2. Video bars are the hottest thing, except for AI. Video bars are the hottest thing at the show, hottest thing on the planet. And Neat is one of the leaders, and Generation 2 is a big story. So I
Mhm.
think a lot of viewers might be saying, oh, video bar, video bar. Convince me this is something different than all the others out there. So what do you have to say to our viewers about Generation 2?
Yeah, sure. I think the thing that's there's a few things that are really exciting about Neat Bar Generation 2. The first is that, this year is basically Neat's fifth anniversary, right? We were founded in 2019, and we introduced ourselves at the Zoomtopia show in 2019 in October. And so it's been, it's kind of exciting that our first next generation product is basically being, we're starting to ship it here in our fifth anniversary. Because Neat Bar, the original Neat Bar Generation 1, was really the product that we founded the company on, right? So basically, Neat Bar Generation 1 and Neat Pad were the first devices that we shipped right after that Zoomtopia show in 2019.
That
So
was big news at the
it's
show.
yeah,
I
it's
remember that
been
announcement.
yeah. So it's been a great ride for all of us, especially those of us who have the few of us who've been here since 2019. So it's super fun to see next generation product come out. So the key things to know about this are, because we started the company with these, simple, beautifully designed, very powerful all-in-one devices, right? And Neat Bar Gen 1 was the first one of those that Neat produced, and we were sort of one of the first to market with an Android-based all-in-one video bar. So it's kind of the whole concept of, again, Android-based, very simple to use, powerful experience is kind of what that's our company. That is what we were founded to do. And Generation 2 is basically extending that into the future. So it doesn't have different use cases than the Generation 1 bar. It's still for those, huddle to medium-sized rooms, right? So a two-person room all the way up to an 8 to 10 person room. Dimensionally, that's something like 10 by 18 foot or 3 meter by 6 meter type dimensions of the space. That's what it's designed for. Generation 2 also is designed for those spaces, but it's got an improved camera. It's got a much higher pixel density sensor than the original one. So it's got a new camera system. In addition to the 5 microphones that cover the room, those beamforming microphones, it also has some additional microphones that can be used for voice tracking to understand where people are in the room, so that we can do some more advanced functionality into the future, with people localization, those types of things. Those are some big ones. And it's on a new hardware platform, so it's CPU has been upgraded, so it's ready for some of the cool stuff we want to do in the future to continue to improve these user experiences. Because something that is very important to us is the fact that we are always building our devices with a lot of software development headroom, so that when you buy it on day one, it doesn't automatically, just start becoming obsolete. It's actually going to get better as our software team continues to improve it, we put out new releases, we get you new features, et cetera, so that, a year after you buy it, it should actually be a better, more functional, more powerful product than it was on day one. So that cycle is going to continue with the Generation 2 bar. I also want to mention that the Generation 1 bar still very much for sale. We're doing some interesting things with it as well, in terms of some things that we have planned for BYOD experiences, et cetera. So, so the generation two, again, refreshed hardware with, that'll give you more powerful features in the future, but is for the same types of spaces and use cases.
Now, you made an important point about the software updates. People say, ask me for recommendations when they're buying video bars or choosing video bars. And one thing I say to keep in mind is don't just look at the physical bar. You're not just buying a piece of hardware. You're picking a team. You're picking a development team. So it's not just the box. And by the way, I have a nice one installed. It was very easy to install on my wall behind us right here.
That's good.
It's not just, oh, it's a nice box, but it's, I know this development team, if AI comes out with a new feature next year that I just gotta have, they're going to put it in here, and they're going to be one of the first to put it in here. So it's about the development team as much as the bar. Now,
yeah, I mean, planning ahead because we work in technology, right? So you don't know, you can predict some of the things that are coming down the road. You can't predict everything, so you need to give yourself, again, that headroom, so you're not pushing the device to its limits, when it's new, because you want to be able to give that long life cycle to your customers.
Now, moving beyond the bar, I wanted to follow up because I spent a lot of time at the booth, and I'll put a link below in my Infocom wrap-up. I covered 25 companies, and I spent the most time in that wrap-up on Neat because there was just so much to see at the booth, and probably some stuff we don't have time to talk about here today. I like the Neat board, the apps of the Neat board, but it seemed like a lot of stuff that was for bigger rooms. It seems that your customer base, your focus, the conversations that I was hearing, what your team was telling me is you're looking to support bigger rooms. And you just told me that this bar is designed for the medium and smaller rooms. And I know this is the way bars work. The speakers are only so big, the microphones are only so big, the cameras are only so big. So how do we combine those two things, that this is not for big rooms, but Neat is a company that's for big rooms? So what are we doing in big rooms?
Oh, yeah. So the first thing that I think is important to understand, Neat as a company absolutely is dedicated to bringing the powerful experiences that we bring to small and medium rooms to large rooms as well. And the bar generation 2 that we've been talking about, that is only one product, right? We also have our Neat Bar Pro, which is for those larger spaces, sort of like in this beautiful boardroom that you have us sitting in here today. Like this type of a room is a room that Neat absolutely can support. But we're continuing to develop how we support that, and we're doing it in a few different ways. The first is, I see on our table here, we've got a Neat Center. Neat Center started
wrong view.
There we go. We started shipping Neats. Thank you. So we started shipping Neat Center this spring, and it adds a bunch of new functionality that Neat hasn't had before, right? It's got a center of the table 360-degree camera array, so that you can use Neat's, groundbreaking symmetry functionality, which is our individual auto framing. We were, not to brag too much, but we were, pretty much the first in the market to come out with that, AI-driven or machine learning-driven individual auto framing, and that is fully supported on Neat Center, so that you can now have two aspects of the room. You have the aspect of the room from that main room camera, and that could be a Neat board, it can be a Neat board 50, it can be a bar or a bar pro, whatever you might have. And it also has a 16-element mic array on that Neat Center as well. So now you have a tabletop microphone that works hand in hand with the microphone array that is in that main room device. So basically, we auto sense which microphone is the best to pick up any given speaker at any given time, depending on where they might be seated in the room. And so that you're always going to get the microphone that's best suited to that speaker is going to be the one capturing their voice. So for instance, you and I are sitting right by the bar behind us here. So if you and I were talking to a meeting, that bar's mics would be the ones picking us up. But if we were sitting at the far end of the camera and we were closer to those center mics, the Neat Center would be the ones to pick us up. So the microphones work together, the cameras switch back and forth based on where we're looking, so that if we're looking across the table at each other, the center mics will pick us up, so that the people on the far end aren't looking at the side of our heads or the back of our heads. They're looking at us, our faces. And the other cool thing about that too is that, up to 15 or sometimes even more, we can get multiple people, again, 15 to 18 people in the space, all captured and framed simultaneously. So one thing that we don't do, and this is true whether you're using Neat Center or not, is we don't use voice to determine who should be framed. What I mean by that is we're not basically saying, well, this person isn't talking, so we're not going to frame them. We're going to just frame the person who is talking now and maybe the person who talked last. What we do is we say, hey, we should frame everybody, because just like if you were sitting in the room physically present, you would be able to look at whoever you wanted to. You wouldn't just be forced to stare at the person who's talking. You could look at someone, maybe the CEO is over there and they haven't talked in 20 minutes, but you want to see what's going on in their, trying to determine what's going on in their body language. So you want to look at them, right? You can do that with Neat because of how we visually frame people as opposed to using audio to determine who should be framed. So, so that's a big part of what we are doing at Neat, but we're also partnering with some other companies to allow us to extend large room experiences even further. And the big one there that we talked about at Infocom as well is our partnership with Shure. So basically,
nice
that allows, we were super excited about it. The partnership's going great so far. They're great to work with. I live in Chicago. I live about 20 minutes from their beautiful world headquarters building, so I get to go visit there every so often, which is very cool. But they, what they're allowing us to do is basically add things like, ceiling microphones or table microphones, powered speakers, other, specific use case pieces of equipment like handheld mics or push-to-talk mics, all those kinds of things that you might need in a larger space. Now using those Shure devices combined with a Shure DSP, like a P300, for instance, there's a few different models that we support. That device, that digital signal processor, can be connected via USB to the Neat Bar Pro, right? So it is something that is for our Pro Bar, which is our larger room system. So it makes sense, in terms of having this third-party audio. It's largely going to happen in those larger rooms. So this capability is available in our large room system. And now you've just got a whole bunch of new options in terms of how you support that space from both a microphone angle and also from a loudspeaker angle as well, to give that best in class experience to the folks on the far end of the call. So we're really super excited about that. And it gives you now, like I said, Center and our partnership with Shure, there's a lot of large room use cases that Neat is, very well positioned to help you solve.
Nice. A couple quick thoughts on this. First, on the Shure thing, I think that's great because this isn't just about larger rooms. What I'm hearing from customers is that post-pandemic, it's not just that we're enabling our big rooms and our medium rooms and our small rooms. We're enabling every room, all sorts of different rooms that we never thought of having video in before, but teams are doing work in there. There's someone who needs to be videoed in. So it's not just a matter of we have a big template and we have our medium template and we have our small template, set up 60 of these rooms. We have a weird room we need to figure out. We can't hear in it. The acoustics are crazy. And that's where you need something like your partnership with Shure. We need flexibility. And you can't just say, give me bundle number one. I need to come in here and maybe we need like ceiling mics. Maybe we need something we don't usually use. So that flexibility is great.
No, I was just going to say that, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I was just going to say that I think that's a great point, right? I mean that integration with Shure just solves, like what if you have cathedral ceilings in the room and it's not great for acoustics? What if you have, a lectern at the front of the room and you need a gooseneck mic on there so that person can be heard? Like all of those types of things are really where they help. Now, it's not something that you need in every room bigger than 10 seats, right? That's why we have Center that's got microphones and secondary cameras on it, right? So there's a lot you can solve just with the solutions that we are giving you. But Shure can also help, again, the specialized use cases, those really big rooms, those strange rooms, et cetera. And so, again, that's there for those bigger rooms, those specialized use cases. There's also one other thing that I want to make sure I mention, which is that something that we've been talking about for quite some time here at Neat is the fact that NeatPad has microphones built into it as well. And it
Oh,
always has. And
nice.
if you own a NeatPad, it's got mics. And as of this summer, we have created the software, which is very shortly going to be in our production, what we call our stable software channel. So it'll be our production GA software. It's in our preview channel right now, so you can try it out. Will enable the microphones in NeatPad. So now if you have a NeatPad sitting on your table, you have a table mic, which is really
That makes
cool. And
sense. It's right
yeah,
there.
and there's exactly, and you already own it. So there's a video on YouTube that I actually created with a product specialist on my team where we talk you through it and some of the things that you need to understand about the microphones in NeatPad. But that's going to also give you a couple more options on how you might want to handle audio in a room. And again, if you've got a NeatPad already, you've got some table mics. So try it out.
All right, you guys do so much more than video bars. I need to have you on here more often because I just see the cool nice. It's nice, and I just associate in my mind Neat Bar, but no, the company is not Neat Bar. And I wanted to add a couple thoughts. We just got to give a little bit more love to this device here, and a little bit more credit to Neat for doing it because the industry we tried this 10, 15 years ago. There was a product that was a center of the room, and it was failure because the market wasn't ready, the world wasn't ready, people weren't ready, and it wasn't a good experience. The technology wasn't ready, and since then everybody's been afraid to try it again. But it makes sense. It answers the problem. I mean, the problem is, and I talk about this so much, but it's still the problem that we're actually sitting on the wrong side of the table because to make the video work, where we would be sitting is where you, the viewer, is sitting on the other end of the table. But basically, this is the way everyone sees you. And you're sitting at home on Zoom, and you look like a newscaster. Hey, I'm compelling now. I'm going to tell you my story. You're going to listen to me. And then you go into the meeting room, and you commuted into the meeting room when you wanted to stay home. And this is how you're telling your story. So we need multiple cameras because one camera can't capture all these chairs. And my friend Craig Durr, fellow analyst, has come with a way to describe the two approaches. You could do outside in or inside out. And outside in is cameras along all the walls and intelligent switching between them. And, sure, that could work, but that's a lot. A simpler solution is inside out. We have a camera. And for people who are new to this concept, this looks like a camera. It's multiple. They're pointing everywhere. It's not just you see it pointing at you, but it's pointing at all the chairs. And the great benefit is the person sitting there. Not just me, but the person sitting there. Like you were saying, if they were looking at this bar, you get the side of the face. When they were talking to people across the table, you get the side of their face. And you had a great demo at the booth. And I pushed my way in to see this one. And it was cool because you had this exact setup. You had the center and you had the bar. And as people were just turning and having a natural conversation, it was getting the right view of each person, and each person had their own view, not just the talker, as you said before. So I just want to make sure everyone gets that this is more than what it looks like. It really solves this problem that we've just been complaining about since the first day of the pandemic.
Well, I really appreciate you bringing that up because I think it speaks to one of the core philosophies we have at Neat in terms of our product design, which is you always start with the user experience you want to deliver, and then only design a product once you've decided what that experience is. And one of the biggest experiences that is important to us and what led us to innovate Symmetry, our individual auto framing, and then improve on that with Center is that inclusivity, that making people feel like they're in the room. And if they are, to your point, if they feel like they're looking in through the window, looking at the side or the back of people's heads, they don't feel like they're involved, right? They feel like they're a fly on the wall, and maybe they'll get lucky and someone will ask them a question or refer to them, but they don't feel like they're sitting at the table. And I think that inside out form factor combined with the Symmetry auto framing that we can do, I think it's a best in class experience for people who want to feel like they're in the room with the rest of their colleagues.
Yeah, I'm really hopeful for this because people have been complaining about this for 5 years now, and we every year at the trade shows we see some great demos of technologies that solve the meeting equity problem, and they work at the trade shows, they work at the demos, but they're a little tricky to figure out. And this looks like I just plunk it on the table. I think people might actually use this and solve the problem.
Yeah.
So I got my fingers
I hope
crossed.
so. Well, another unique thing about it too is that, first of all, because it auto calibrates, you don't have to bolt it down to the table. Like, you don't have to position it perfectly and then affix it. You can actually, in a call, you can pick it up, move it around, set it back down. It'll kind of refigure out where everyone is and then reframe them again. So it's a really nice. So, you're always going to have someone in the room who doesn't like it on the table for their meeting, and they're going to move it out of the way or that kind of a thing. And the other thing is, on this beautiful mahogany conference table you have here, maybe my CEO or whoever owns the room doesn't want anything on the table other than the beautiful notepads and the glasses and the fruit basket. So you can actually suspend the center from the ceiling. It'll actually turn
Nice.
upside down, and the accelerometer will make sure that the cameras are the right side up. And so you can basically sort of put it right next to the light fixtures, get it off the table, get it out of everyone's way. They're not even, it's that at that point it's essentially completely transparent to the people in the room, and keeps those keeps your furniture and your interior design pristine, if you will, but still give you that same powerful experience.
I was all ready to drill a hole in this table, but I prefer that.
Completely unnecessary. Completely
Yeah,
unnecessary.
I just remember we're going a little bit long, so I want to wrap it up. But I just remembered something really funny. Things we take for granted now. The fact that you could move it. I remember 10 years ago the demo of the predecessor when we first tried this. When they demoed to us, they're like, "Please don't touch it.
Yeah.
If you move it a quarter of an inch, we're gonna have to set it all up again.
I
Don't touch
know.
it. Don't breathe on it." So yeah, it
Right.
has to be able to calibrate itself.
But that's real life, right? So I mean, that's something that you really have to think about is, you're not, one of the biggest things that we also want to solve for is, the real world users needing to be able to support themselves, because the folks who are administering these rooms, who are in charge of these rooms, they don't have staff to run around and help people to give white glove service in every space where they might need it. So you need these solutions that are, self-healing, if you will, right? If someone moves it, it's not going to be a big deal. It'll figure it out and be able to still deliver that good experience. So that's another thing that we spend a lot of time, our design team, our hardware team, our software team, figuring out people and how they're going to behave in the room too. So,
That's good. I've never been a fan of technology that customers are afraid to touch. You
yeah,
touch it. I don't want to break it. The boss will get mad.
right.
All right. Any final thoughts, or where can our viewers go to learn more?
Yeah, sure. So please go to our website, which is neat.no. So I'll repeat that, neat.no. We are a company based in Norway, so we have actually a Norwegian domain. That's why it's neat.no. So that's where everything is. You can see about everything. You can see about all the products. You can see about our Shure partnership, all of that, design ideas, room types of rooms, etc. And then, we will also consistently have webinars. So please sign up for our mailing list so you can see when those are coming out as well. There's links to where you can sign up for more information. And then if you want to see a product demo, a personalized product demo with a salesperson and a product specialist on my team, you can request one of those as well, and we'd be happy to take you through the whole portfolio.
Awesome. And quick teaser for my viewers. I think Oslo is really beautiful. Maybe I should go soon and visit Neat at Oslo. Just an
I think that's
idea. Just an
a great
idea I'm
idea.
having. If I do, I'll be
I
sure to take a lot of pictures and send a lot of videos. All
think.
right. Thank you, Justin, so much. That was
All
awesome.
right.
And thanks everyone for watching. Have a great day.
All right. Thanks, Dave.